So what if you could find the single best answer to a really complex business problem and not just, a pretty good one? Well, in this explainer, we're going to do exactly that. We're going to take a classic business puzzle and solve it with an incredibly powerful tool you probably already have, the Excel solver. Let's dive in.
Businesses wrestle with this kind of question every single day. You've got limited resources, a bunch of different options, and a big goal like maximizing profit. So how do you find that one perfect mathematically optimal answer? It sounds super complex, right? But the solution is surprisingly accessible, and it's hiding right inside a simple spreadsheet.
Okay, to see exactly how this works, let's get practical. We are going to solve a classic business puzzle, the AB Company's Product Mix Challenge.
So meet the AB Company. Their problem is pretty straightforward. They make two products, A and B. Now, product A is more profitable per ton, but here's the catch. Making both products requires 3 different raw materials, and their inventory is limited. The goal is simple. Find the exact production mix of A and B that's going to squeeze out the most profit possible without running out of supplies.
All right, before we can ask Excel for help, we have to translate our business problem into a language it understands. And that language is math. This whole step is called formulating the model. We define our decision variables. That's just what we want to decide. Then we create an objective function. That's our formula for total profit. And finally, we list out our constraints. These are the rules that say, hey, you can't use more materials than you actually have. With this logic in place, we're ready to build.
Okay, with the logic all mapped out, let's jump over to Excel and see how we actually build this thing. This is where the magic really starts to happen.
A clean setup is absolutely key to making this work. We organize our sheet into these really distinct zones, one for data entry, things like profit per ton and how much material we have, and another for our calculations. But the most important part by far are these 2 blank cells, our decision variables. These are the numbers we're going to ask Solver to find for us.
Next up, we've got to connect everything with formulas. The goal here is to create a totally dynamic model. We use formulas like sum product to calculate how many tons of each material are being used based on whatever numbers are in our decision variable cells. That way, if Solver changes the production quantity, our total profit and our material usage update automatically. It's like a living model of our business problem.
Now, before we can solve this puzzle, we need the right tool for the job. And that tool is the Solver add-in. You'll find it in the Data tab, but it's often not enabled by default. If you don't see it, no worries. The slide shows a super quick tip on how to switch it on. It literally takes a second.
So with our Excel model built and all the logic locked in, we are ready to unleash the solver. Let's walk through the really simple steps to get it configured.
Step 1 is super simple. We just tell Solver our goal. We point it to the Set Objective box, and we select that one cell in our spreadsheet that calculates our total profit. Then we just click the button for Max because, well, our goal here is to maximize it. Easy enough.
Step 2 is all about defining the variables. We need to tell Solver which cells it's actually allowed to change to reach our goal. In this case, it's those 2 blank cells we set aside earlier for the tons of product A and product B. Now Solver knows it can experiment with the numbers in these cells to find the best possible outcome.
Step 3 is where we set the rules of the game. We add our constraints. For each of our 3 raw materials, we create a really simple rule. The cell that calculates how much we've used must be less than or equal to the cell that lists how much we have available. This makes sure Solver's solution is realistic and doesn't use resources we just don't have.
And finally, step 4 is just about finalizing the settings. We check the box to make sure we don't produce negative products. I mean, that's just common sense. Then we select Simplex LP as our solving method. Now, you don't need to know all the math behind it. Just know that it's the right engine for this type of problem, and it guarantees that we'll find the single best possible answer.
So, we've translated the problem, we've built the model, and we've configured all the settings. There's really only one thing left to do. We click Solve.
And bam! In a fraction of a second, there it is. Solver finds the answer. It populates our blank cells with a perfect solution. Produce exactly 6,250 tons of product A and 15,000 tons of product B. This specific mix gives us the absolute maximum possible profit, $306,250, without breaking any of our material limits.
But listen, the optimal numbers, they're just the beginning. The real power of Solver comes from what you learn from the solution. It actually generates reports that give you deep, actionable insights that can guide your whole business strategy.
Now, to understand these reports, we just need two quick bits of terminology. A binding constraint is a resource that we've used up completely. It's our bottleneck. And slack is the opposite. It's just the amount of a resource we have left over.
The first report, the answer report, it gives us this crystal clear snapshot of our resources. It shows materials B and C are binding with zero slack. That means we've used every last ton. These are our production bottlenecks. Meanwhile, look at material A. We have 750 tons left over. It's not binding.
Okay, now for a really powerful concept for making business decisions, the shadow price. Simply put, this tells you exactly how much extra profit you'd make if you could just get your hands on one more unit of a binding resource. It's the true hidden value of that scarce item.
This is where things get really incredible. The sensitivity report reveals the shadow price for each of our resources. Look at material B. Its shadow price is $62.50. This is telling us that acquiring just one more ton of material B would increase our total profit by $62.50. That is unbelievably valuable information for strategic planning. And notice material A has a shadow price of 0. Of course it does. We already have extra, so getting more is worthless to us right now.
So, let's bring it all home. This whole powerful process, from a business question all the way to an actionable insight, can be summarized in this simple, repeatable, 6-step workflow. Preparation, setting your target, defining your variables, adding constraints, checking your settings, and finally, solving and interpreting those awesome results.
So, we've gone from a complex business puzzle to a clear, mathematically perfect answer, and even more importantly, to a deep, strategic understanding of our constraints and our opportunities. And this leaves us with one final thought. What hidden opportunities in your own work are just waiting for a tool like Solver to uncover them?